And I like, hey, looking to book a show here whenever blah blah blah. And the guy says, actually, I need an act. Can you guys do a show on such and such date? And of course, I say yes without even checking with the band.
Yeah.
And he says, have you ever heard of a band called Iron Butterfly?
Oh no.
Yeah. And I stopped and I said, squeak, squeak, squeak. Excuse me? This video is brought to you by Wicked Good Cupcakes. We'll hear more about them later, but for now, let's get on to today's video. Welcome to Room 6, the channel dedicated to local and not so local music and the people that make it, including my guest. And my guest today is the frontman and bassist for a three-piece band that's part of a new wave of hard rock and metal that's just trying to make heavy metal fun again, in the same vein as Room 6 alumni, former guest Void Vader. And they're all the way from Toronto, Ontario. That's Canada for you Americans. Currently on Golden Robot Records, they're coming to town. They're coming to Las Vegas May 20th to play a show at Red Dwarf Pizza. I'm hoping to be there, meet them in person, and I've been meaning to get to that venue. The new album, Heavy Rock and Roll, is out now. Please welcome to the show, Tommy from DEADWOLFF. Hi, Tommy.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, living the dream, dreaming the life. I don't know.
Always.
That was terrible. I'm a professional. Welcome. You got a beer handy?
I actually just finished my beer earlier before dinner. It's about 10 to 11 here, so hoping to get to sleep soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I my hours were off. I thought it was only 2 hour difference for some reason.
No, unfortunately not. But
Well,
it is what it is. Happy to be here.
yeah, if it was a show, you'd be barely getting warmed up.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. And if you're watching this and you don't know who DEADWOLFF is, you should. But also, thank you for watching. That means that you just like Room 6, and I appreciate you. If you want to be on the channel, whether reviewed, interviewed, or both, hit me up using my email address down in the description, or click the Room 6 social media link. That's where you'll find all the places I'm at online, and also find ways that you can support the channel, such as merch, my Patreon page, all that good things. So I had some general questions that I guess it's just you answering. I was going to ask the whole band, but before we get into anything, I wanted to talk about earliest musical influences. And I know you've been asked this before, and I wanted to really just go back to that first earliest musical influence. What was that moment that you can remember saying, I want to do that?
To be honest, I think it was probably Metallica. My older brother, I remember he showed me Kill 'Em All. I think I was in grade 6, so I would have been like 12 or some shit. I saw the inside cover because it would have been CD, so on the record would have been back cover, and yeah, just the four of them standing there, young, pizza faced, but listen to it, you look at the cover and they look, you look at the back cover and they look like a bunch of fucking badasses. And you listen to the tunes, and it just proves so, right. And I think that was the turning point. That I was like, yeah, I want to play some heavy fucking tunes.
Totally. That was a lot of people's first, like, what is this? I can do this moment. And
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure you've heard it before. You do have a little bit of young James Hetfield going on with you.
I get that a lot. When I wear my glasses, a lot of people say I look like Buddy from fucking Waco. So that's a lot better than that dude.
Yeah, right. So generic kind of question for you, but not really generic. From playing in a former KFC turned Tucker to an abandoned marina, you seem to be ready to play anywhere that'll have you. And I was wondering, do you have any horror stories from the road?
Horror stories? I mean, not so much. I mean, our shows are, we make sure they're pretty, they're playing pretty well ahead, right? I mean, you gotta plan a minimum of 3 months out, fucking 6 months out if you're booking tours, right? So everything kind of goes
Right.
to plan. But then there's always, you know, shit that happens, right? Like we played in St. John and cops ended up getting called and then the venue ended up getting shut down. So um it was a bitchin' time. But it, you know, just stuff like that, you know, it really can impact, you know, like that really impacted the you know, the scene. But Jay, the dude that runs Panic Room out in St. John's, he's fucking top of pops. He's a staple of community, right? So he was able to turn it right around. He found a new fucking place, and it was, you know, it was no problem, right? But yeah, I mean, for horror stories, I don't know. I run, we run such a fucking tight ship that you know, we get in, we rock and roll, we crack some beers, we crack wise, you know, ain't no thing.
Well, then you are in the minority because as soon as you go on the road,
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of acts have that. But no, I mean, running a tight ship is important, especially when you have a set. You know, it's not like your show all night.
Well, that's the thing, you know. You see some bands, they're just getting fucked up and this and that, right? And like, don't get me wrong, like, you know, we'll party with the rest of them, right? Like, I'll crush a good fucking 30 lights and gradually become a problem. But you know, when it comes down to showtime, like, you know, I know my limit and I drink within it, right? You know, and
Right.
so do the other boys, right? So, you know, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like I can't wait until I'm in fucking Vegas, right? Like I've been to Vegas like 7 or 8 fucking times. The rest of the boys haven't, right? So they don't know the glories of the old strip, right? Fucking, you know, 50-cent table minimums, you know, and they're bringing you fucking some lights, right? So
Right.
uh you know, ask me that question in a couple months and we'll see what's up, right? Because this will be the first time we've hit the States. Um
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
the U.S. is a different beast, right? I mean, Canada's, I don't want to say prim and proper, but it's our booze is a lot more expensive, right? And our pockets are a lot tighter. So one of those things.
Yeah, I can see that. The dichotomy there, and as soon as you hit the states, it's kind of like, whoa, things are different. We're not Kansas anymore, Toto. You know.
No,
So
exactly.
you know, now your sound has been called having a modern yet vintage feel to it, and I agree with that. Again, like tying into like early Metallica and all the other influences that have been listed over many multiple interviews that you guys have given. I was wondering, what's your dream show lineup to be part of? Like, what show would you love to play with? Like, who's on the bill?
You know, I get that question sometimes here and there, and I'm never really
Dead
too sure how to answer it because, you know,
or alive?
you get it, I find it's like when, you know, somebody asks you what you want to listen to, and I always end up drawing a blank, right? But I mean, if I was to put together a bill, it, yeah, that's the thing, right? I have so many bands that I like, you know, like I'd love to play with Thin Lizzy, but would I want to play with them or do I want to just, you know, go see them, right? Do I want to end up, you know, having to hold my P's and Q's and, you know, and not drink too much, or do I want to just go full out and enjoy myself?
So I had a question for you that's going to sound a little maybe personal, and I hope that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Any guest spots for Patrick Swayze in the works?
Patrick Swayze, you know Patrick Swayze?
You'd be surprised what I know.
Fucking A, bud. Um,
I have been called the
yeah.
next Nardwar.
Yeah. All right, fucking A. Okay, yeah. Patrick Swayze is the best fucking cat in the world. And my fiance's cat. I think he's 10. Yeah, he's 10. And oh yeah, he's one of the mascots, and he's just one of he's just one of the boys that'll just fucking snuggle up real tight, you know.
Nice. We've got a dog at my house, and she's an idiot. Right on. So
Oh
for
no,
that
the
work
animals are
question,
great. They're never. That's one thing I love about fucking just animals in general. They're always so stoked about you. There's no bullshit. There's none of this social media baloney, right? I mean, if it wasn't for band stuff, I'd be gone. I
yeah, I
wouldn't
mean,
be on social media at all.
I oh, I was gonna say I know the feeling, and although cats do have a reputation of not giving a damn about what you think.
Yeah, no, I love it. I used to be a dog guy,
Yeah.
but
Um,
much more of a cat person nowadays.
right on. Let's talk a little bit more about the band itself. Then we've gone down some rabbit holes here, but you're fairly new as a band, and yet you came out of the gate swinging and managed to land record label deal, and then another record label deal, another record label deal. And I was wondering if you had any um, advice, I guess, tips for this of what let's pretend we're talking to like a new musician, little Tommy. What kind of tips would you give him to say, hey, this is how you don't just play bars for 2 years before you start getting like anywhere in the business?
So yeah, I pretty much, it's all trial and error, right? Once you step back and you realize that, you realize where you went wrong, but not even like where you went wrong, right? Because it's all it's all growing, right? But
Right.
it's all just having a plan, right? And we use the COVID to our advantage, right? Because bands were doing anything, right? So it all kind of helped with the plan, and what that was, writing a bunch of tunes, getting all of our ducks in a row, and then coming out swinging, right? So upon the first show, you're already coming out as a bigger band. You got all the merch, you got all the fucking, you know, buddies, and you got the banner, you got the fucking bass drum skins, this and that, right? And so online, you're already a bigger fucking band, and so people take notice of that, and that's you shoot off your EP to, because that was the thing, like we had the EP ready and out before we had even played a show, right? So we were already gaining that following. Like I recorded the drums for the EP, right, before we even had a drummer. So once you got all your ducks in a row, you can say to someone, hey, what's up, like you know how to drum, can you play these songs, right? And the first drummer that we had like lined up to play shows, his name was Rawa, cool cat. He wasn't so much about it because of like restrictions and stuff like that, and we had to keep the boat going, right?
Right.
So when Angus came in, he learned the set. We recorded sets that we were playing. We were able to shoot them off to Angus. Angus learned them in like a matter of like 3 hours, and then we just, yeah, everything just kind of fell into place, right? And then everything came to fruition. Then we were that band that we put ourselves out to be, right? So you gotta walk the walk if you're gonna talk the talk, right?
Right.
And yeah, it's just one of those things.
And
So
honestly,
have,
that's oh,
having
go
a
ahead.
plan is key.
It totally is, and that's a great lesson for all the musicians, really, but for the new ones especially. You don't be afraid to take your time to get things right, and the way that you want to be the world to perceive you, because perception is reality in the music business, unfortunately. and
Exactly.
and COVID did that for a lot of acts, where they either were crafting or honing their craft, putting all their ducks in a row and putting all their stuff together, or recording, or they were doing live streams of them playing, building, basically, like you said, not playing an actual show, but somehow
Hmm.
building a fan base anyway.
Well, I
So
noticed that with another band that came out around the same time, the band out of LA that we're supposed to be playing with called Saber. Now these guys came out swinging even harder, right? Like
Right.
they were on like out of the gates running, like they were on like Health Heroes a couple years ago, like a big tour with Haunt, and like music video just the same, right? And I remember seeing posts that they were looking for a steady drummer, and so it's all one and the same, and great minds think alike, right? So I can only imagine that some of those guys, that exact same scenario, it's trial and error, right?
Totally. There's a lot of things that that band, Void Vader, that a lot of bands do
Boy
that I
Vader's right
wish.
on.
Oh, dude, they're so awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I had done a lot of those things when I was younger. But then again, when I was young, I'm 50 now. When I was your age, I hate to say that sentence. When I was your age, the game was different. It was literally
But
merch, merch table, merch table, or try to get people to buy your CD in the stores. And nowadays,
that's
merch
not even
is.
half it though, because so I was talking to Maggers from Casualties, right? And
Mhm.
he's telling me, because booking tours, so like I book all of our tours, I book all of our shows, this and that, right? And this day and age, it's all, you're shooting off some messages, you're finding contacts, you can usually do it within a day, couple days, especially if people are getting back to you. I mean, if people aren't returning your emails and you follow up, but they're still not getting back to you, like, at least just hit me with a no that you don't want to book us. That's cool, but let me move on.
Right.
He's telling me that, like find the payphone, calling the promoter, like calling people across the country to put you in touch with somebody, it's all phone calls, all payphones, right?
Mhm.
And like, I
You
know
gotta
I can
mail
do
in the
that, but
cassette.
it just sounds like it's a whole different world, right? And mailing stuff out to this and that, not just sending fucking links over emails. Completely different world.
Totally. I can remember walking into what the San Diego Coach House, which doesn't exist anymore, and this is going to be a bit of a flex, so I apologize in advance. But
No, at
but
all.
I'm singing. I'm 22. The rest of my band is 19 or 18. They're all like seniors in high school or they just graduated, and we sound like the Stones with Eddie Vedder singing. Okay, so get that in your head.
I can dig it.
And I'm the Eddie Vedder. It's the 90s, and I walk in just trying. I got our cassette, and I like, hey, looking to book a show here whenever blah blah blah. And the guy says, actually, I need an act. Can you guys do a show on such and such date? And of course, I say yes without even checking with the band.
Yeah.
And he says, have you ever heard of a band called Iron Butterfly?
Oh no shit.
Yeah. And I stopped and I said, squeak, squeak, squeak. Excuse me? And needless to say, I said yes. We did the show,
Yeah,
and it was packed, obviously. That my the rest of my band, their parents loved it. They had no idea who Iron
for
Butterfly
sure.
was. And it was one of those moments like I can just put that on my little rock star checklist. Cha-ching.
Fuck yeah, bud.
Yeah, like who does that? But anyway, I digress. We're back to you. Does your band camp take Canadian Tire money?
Uh, buddy, I'm gonna start doing that because Canadian Tire ain't printing fucking money anymore because
Really?
it's all points and this and that baloney now, right?
Right.
So Canadian Tire money, if you actually have like certain years and certain bills, it's actually like worth uh some can be worth a pretty penny. I think there was one, it was like a dollar note from I forget what year, but it went for like just over a grand on eBay or some shit. And so, hey, bud, you want to pay us in Canadian Tire money?
Yeah,
I
right.
lost a lot of mine from that fucking first video shoot. It's in my buddy's garage right now at the bar.
I was gonna ask, did you manage to hang on to that money from the double up video?
So it all got mixed in with my buddy Jimmy's Canadian Tire money because I only had a little and he had a little. So we created a medium-sized amount for the video, but I left it all there, and I still got to get it back. But I know he's probably gonna tell me to fuck off because it's Canadian Tire money. You can't get that shit anymore. So
Yeah, right.
I have to rob some fucking, I don't know, some like school lunch or some shit.
Nice. Speaking of the double up video, whose Aces High cassette was that?
Was it Aces High?
That's what you said. You thought it was an Aces High where it had been rubbed off enough where you couldn't see the name.
Oh shit, maybe it was.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I think it was, if it was Aces High, if it was rubbed off, it was probably mine. I got so many fucking cassettes. Um, I thought it was a DEADWOLFF cassette, but maybe it was a fucking, yeah, maybe it was the Aces High cassette.
I mean, it would make
Yeah.
sense if it was Dead Wolf, but I think at that point you didn't have one or something.
No, actually, yeah, no, you're 100% correct because we didn't have that. We didn't have the cassette at that point. So yeah, I probably just grabbed a fucking cassette off. I've got like this bag of just ones without cases, right? So yeah, no, that is mine because I do
Did you
have
ever get
that.
that back?
I know I've got it somewhere. I'm sure I could find it
Yeah, you should hold on to that because someday.
someday. No, I got some good fucking cassettes, but
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna before I ask this next question, we're gonna take a quick moment here because we need to hear a message from future Josh. So also, booze break. I'm empty.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Thanks, Past Josh. I love cupcakes. It's a cake you can hold in your hand. Plus, you can fill them with virtually anything, and the toppings could be whatever you like. You know who makes really good cupcakes? Wicked Good Cupcakes, that's who. What started as a way for a mom and daughter to spend time together quickly became a nationwide phenomenon. Their innovative cupcake in a jar idea, first pitched on the TV show Shark Tank for shipping delicious homemade cupcakes nationwide, has made Wicked Good Cupcakes a household name. With decadent flavors and enticing, unique presentation, Wicked Good Cupcakes' delicious, sweet, and fun cupcake jars are a great way to add delight to any occasion. Just for watching this video and for being part of Room 6, for a limited time, you can use my affiliate link down in the description to get free ground shipping on custom 6-packs. Delivering to me here in Nevada, that's a savings of almost 20 bucks. Plus, you'll be helping out the channel. Thanks to Wicked Good Cupcakes for being a sponsor, and let's get back to the show. We're back. And by the way, if you want to support the channel, the best way you can do it, if that sponsor spot interested you, click the link down in the description. It helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody wins. Now then, getting back to your fiance that you mentioned, any collabs with Sexsmith or O'Darlin in the works?
So there's nothing like at the moment. Jin and I we'll hang out, we'll write some tunes, and we've written some pretty catchy stuff over the years, you know. Nothing that we've kind of put out there or, you know, recorded besides on our phones. But, you know, fun stuff for us to, you know, if we ever wanted to, you know, start something that we could. Jin has a book coming out in a few months. It's called In the Hands of Men, and I was fortunate to have the first draft read to me, and it is powerful stuff. Now I haven't read the final draft, but there's going to be some very high profile people making some comments on it, reviewing it. So just keep an ear out for that. Keep an eye out for that. It's called In the Hands of Men by Jen Sexsmith, and it's really fucking powerful.
Awesome. Sounds awesome. Is it going to be on, like Amazon or one of those kind of places?
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be on all the major platforms.
Cool, cool. You know what? If you send me a link, I'll throw it down in the description for the viewers. Okay,
Awesome, yeah, for sure.
right on. And I wanted to draw attention to that real quick because you're a pretty well-read guy, actually, and the music
Here and
videos
there.
don't portray that. Obviously, you're having fun rocking out old school style, and I love it. Here's the sound and the whole aesthetic and just the way you guys do the videos are shot really is just fun. And it's like if all the bands that influenced you didn't take themselves quite so seriously and had fun. You know?
Yeah. We try and spit out a couple different elements, with the Canadian Tire money. Actually, in the Homeward Bound video, when the kid's walking up to the bullies, right, when they're
Mhm.
throwing dice in the alley, they're actually doing it for Canadian Tire money. That wasn't so much in the shot, didn't end up in the final cuts, but I was hoping it would, just kind of. I like having those kind of recurring themes. If you noticed in Homeward Bound, the boom box that the guys have, it's the same one as in the Double Up video, and
Oh
the
yeah.
hat that the bartender's wearing in Double Up is the same hat that one of the rednecks is wearing. So these small recurring themes, I don't know. I just find it's funny.
That's I didn't really notice that, but that's actually genius. That's You're creating your own little like Marvel universe, your own little
Yeah, yeah, no,
Captain Wolf
exactly.
universe. That's really awesome. But the point I was making about just because someone makes hard or fast music doesn't mean that they don't have a brain and that they don't know how to read or can have art, other culture, literature move them. Because I know that you're a big proponent of like the rights of indigenous people, especially the women. You promoted a book called 21. What was it?
21 things you didn't know about the Indian Act. And I will say that, so my knowledge of indigenous issues and different bands, spread out across, what is now North America. A lot of my knowledge has come from Jin, being an indigenous person. And yeah, it's definitely something that, especially that book, is definitely, something that should be learned, because knowledge is power, right?
It,
So
it
arm
totally is.
yourself.
Yep. And I just was really impressed that you know you were putting it out there on your personal Facebook page and saying like this is important, and it wasn't like a hot button topic of the week kind of thing. It was just this is a thing that is important. So you talked. I saw in an interview where you talked about your logo. I want to talk about that real quick, and just the name came to you while you were driving the car. But I wanted to go a little bit deeper than that. Why yellow and triangles?
I always found yellow stood out the most, and honestly, I really. So one of my favorite bands is the Police, and if you look at the Synchronicity album, so they use primary colors, right? Red's Andy Summers, blues Stuart Copeland, yellow is Sting, right? So
Right.
I don't know. I really fucking like Sting. So that was another kind of like ode. I always have these little odes to musicians. But yeah, so yellow stood out the most. And the triangles is another little ode to the Police, right? Because third album's in Yeta Mondata, this triangle. There's the three of them, right? So it's all these little things.
Wow, I would not have guessed the Police
No,
for
no,
your
nobody
band,
does.
and that's awesome. That's an awesome. Thank you for sharing it. You could have totally made it up and been like some crazy story.
Yeah,
Um,
no, yeah,
right
Police.
on. Well, uh, what I'd like to do is I have a question I ask of all my prey. I want to finish this out with one more question for you, and thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you for watching as well, guests or viewers rather. Make sure I'm going to put all the links down the description for where you can find the band online, and you could follow up and see if they're coming to your town. For those of you that live in the Nevada area, definitely May 20th at Red Dwarf.
It's a Saturday too, so
yes,
come on out.
It sounds like it's going to be awesome. And as far as I know, I will be there, and I will shake your hand, sir.
Cheers. Yeah, we'll have a fucking drink there, bud. 100%.
Right. Although I don't drink beer. I'm a hard liquor man. This is rum.
That's cool. I'm not I enjoy my mixed drinks around, my rye and ginger around Christmas. But for the most part, yeah, no, it's just light beer.
Right on. But that's not what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back to talking to new musicians, or talking to little you. All right.
Yeah.
What is one thing you wish someone had told you before you started going down this twisted road called music? And don't say change your strings.
Well, I only started really playing bass not too long ago, right? I played the drums for like 20 fucking years.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I missed that side.
I don't really talk about it that much, as opposed to telling people that I recorded drums for the EP, right?
Right.
But yeah, I was always in like touring punk bands, right? So one of the main things is probably, it doesn't matter how good you are at your instrument, because there's always going to be somebody better than you, right? And you can really get by on limited musicianship. If you can write a good song, you can write a good song, and if you dig it, chances are, with how many fucking people there are in this world, somebody else is going to dig it, and somebody else is, going to respect what you're doing. And if they don't respect it, then they'll at least, dig it. If they don't find you handsome, they'll at least find you handy.
That's a great quote. I'm going to use that. I like that.
Yeah, it's red green.
Red green.
Classic Canadian cuts, bud. Look up the Red Green Show.
Red Green Show. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Red Skelton. That's it.
Yeah.
I just dated myself there, but right on. Well, Tommy, thank you very much for coming on the channel. And thank
you for having me.
I think, do we have a music video to tack on to the end of this thing?
There's a few. There's there's Heavy Rock and Roll, there's Homeward Bound, there's Double Up. Homeward Bound's our latest one. We were going to be doing a video for Walking on Nails. Never got around to it. Green Stack's a little slack, but I don't know. Heavy Rock and Roll is pretty right on.
Yeah, I forgot to talk to you about that earlier. But yeah, so stick around, viewers. We're going to see a music video from DEADWOLFF, and I'll catch you on the outro. In the meantime, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate you.
Hey, thank you for a super fun interview. This was cool. Really insightful questions. I really appreciate it. Not just the usual, jimmer jammer.
You got lucky. I usually ask, how would you describe your band's, musical style? But,
null and void.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you again. And I'll see you guys in the outro. But in the meantime, Tommy, you're a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you very much, sir.
I'll try my best. Thank you so much. Take care.
Hey, no worries. And I leave you with this. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Bop.
There you go.
You better prove yourself tonight. A hostage.
want to thank Tommy from DEADWOLFF for coming on the channel. It was a great interview and an awesome music video. If you want to know more about them, use the links down in the description. If you want to, come on the channel, hit me up down there as well. And if you want to see more videos like this, please click up here. If you'd like to subscribe, it really does make a difference. Please click up there. And if you want to hear my own music, which is not like theirs at all, click over there. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6.